Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Study of Basic Statistics course. I am Chen Jinti from Guangxi Financial Vocational College. In today's study, we will continue to explore Project 4, Task 3 in Statistical Data Description. Calculate the average metric. We often say that data is the blood of a business. What is the first step in understanding data? Is to see the overall level of the data. And average indicators can help us understand data. Is an important tool. Imagine that you have just opened a milk tea shop. During the first month of trial operation, sales fluctuate every day. How can you tell if the business is improving? Or after a social media marketing campaign, how much improvement it has brought? At this time, you need a tool to measure the overall level. That is, average indicators. Today, let's together to reveal the mystery of average indicators and master its concept, characteristics, and functions, and arithmetic mean and other common types of calculation to lay the foundation for your future data analysis. Average indicator is too abstract. The differences in a certain quantitative characteristic and use a representative value to reflect the general level. For example, a company has 5 million employees, and everyone's salary is different. Using average salary can summarize everyone's overall income level. The daily sales of an e-commerce platform vary in 30 days, but the average daily sales can help us quickly judge the overall operating level. So average indicators is essentially a tool for grasping the big and letting go of the small, which can help us find patterns in complex data. What are the characteristics of average indicators? Let's summarize them together. Average indicators have 3 characteristics. First, abstraction. It does not show each specific value, but uses a representative value to reflect the whole. Second, homogeneity. You must average the same type of phenomenon. You can put apples and oranges, etc., to different items to be averaged together. Third, centralization. The average value often shows the direction of data convergence. It reveals the central tendency of things. As Marx once pointed out, the average reveals the basic laws of a large number of social economic phenomena. Mastering average indicators is a scientific attitude to find universal laws and grasp the essence. It is also the basic thinking quality, basic thinking literacy that we should possess. Let's look at this question, which is not a characteristic of an average indicator. First, let's recall what an average indicator is. It reflects the central tendency of a set of data. So option D, performance concentration trend, is a core characteristic. An average indicator requires the data to be homogeneous, meaning they must be comparable and from the same population. So option C, homogeneity required, is also a characteristic. When we calculate an average, we abstract away the individual differences between data points to get a representative value. That's exactly what option A, difference abstraction, describes, so it's also a characteristic. Now look at option B, data personalization. An average is a summary value that eliminates individual differences, not emphasizes personalization. So this is not a characteristic of an average indicator. Therefore, the correct answer is B. So what can average indicators help us do? Here are 4 typical application scenarios. First, horizontal comparison. You can compare the unit cost of different stores to see which store is more efficient. Second, vertical analysis, such as comparing the average order amount this year with last year to assess the company's growth. Third, trend judgment, such as the continuous 3-month growth in per capita consumption, whether it indicates that the recognition of a brand is increasing. Fourth, dependency analysis, whether after the expansion of the enterprise, the per capita cost of employees has decreased. In today's data-driven decision-making, average indicators have penetrated into every industry. So what are the average indicators divided into? First is the location average, which are used to describe the central tendency of data. mainly including median and mode. These indicators can quickly reveal the central position of the data, providing strong support for statistical analysis. Secondly, there is the numerical average. Its core is true. It calculates the ratio of the sum of data to the number of data. It also includes various calculation methods, such as arithmetic mean, weighted mean, etc., to accurately reflect the average level of data. Next, we will enter the key content of this lesson, the calculation method of arithmetic mean. Calculation method. It is the most basic and the most commonly used method for calculating average indicators. First, let's take a look at the formula for simple arithmetic mean. X equals x1 plus x2 plus xn divided by n. Show period represents x. Represents the arithmetic mean. She represents the sign value of each unit. And represents the total number of units, which is also called the trim number. Let's analyze it together through an example. For example, a sales team of 5 people. The sales on a certain day are 520 yuan, respectively, 600 yuan, 480 yuan, 750 yuan, 440 yuan. Please calculate the average daily sales per person. Okay, let's take a look together, using the formula we just mentioned, and substitute the values to calculate the average level. X is equal to 558 yuan. This is the calculation method of simple arithmetic mean. The second is weighted arithmetic mean. In our real life and work, we often encounter such situations. Different units and samples of data are not of the same importance. At this time, if we still use the simple arithmetic mean, the calculation method of equal treatment, it may mask the true influence of p-groups and even lead to wrong judgments. At this time, we need to introduce a more scientific calculation method, which is weighted arithmetic mean. You can see the formula in the PPT. X is equal to x1 times f1 plus by 2 times f2 plus xn times fn. Divide by cumulative sum of our f1 plus f2 to fn. Here it is. X represents the arithmetic mean before we add. Xn refers to a variable value of an object of class n. Our fn is a number of objects of this class, or weight. The weight is like what we often talk about, a number of people, or visit frequency. Now let's understand it through an example. For example, you create an online course platform. There are 3 types of users. Free users have 20 visits per month and a weight of 1. The weight is 3 for each member user and the monthly visit count is 100. The weight is 5 for each corporate customer and the monthly visit count is 300. At this time, if we directly take the average of their visits, average, it is obviously unscientific, because the number of these 3 types of users, or their value contribution is different. So we need to give them different weights. We need to introduce the weighted average calculation method to evaluate the overall activity of the platform, to make a more accurate assessment. Through the formula we just mentioned, a formula for calculating our weighted average, we can calculate that the weighted average has an active level of 200.2. This 200.2 is not a simple average of these 3 groups of visits, but also takes into account the user structure and value contribution. It can more truly reflect the overall activity level of the platform. Let's look at this question. Which of the following situations is suitable for using the weighted average? First, we need to remember that a weighted average is used when different data points have different levels of importance, or weights. Let's go through each option. Option A, employees' salaries are all the same. If all salaries are equal, we don't need weights, so a simple average works. This is not the right case. Option C, the prices of all commodities are consistent. Again, with no difference in values, a simple average is enough, no weighting needed. Option D, only 2 samples, with just 2 data points. We just use a simple average, no weights required. Now option B, the frequency of using the platform varies greatly among different user groups. Here, different user groups have different usage frequencies, so we need to assign different weights to each group to calculate a fair average. This is exactly when we use a weighted average, so the correct answer is B. So today, we mainly learn the concept and role of average indicators, simple arithmetic, average, and the calculation methods and applications of the average, and how to use average indicators, scientifically apply average indicators. In this era of data dominance, we need to cultivate not only the ability to calculate formulas, but the ability to make judgments, choices, and make decisions. We young people should adhere to seeking truth from facts and pursue truth. Speak with data, not blindly follow or believe, and become a new generation of college students and create of new era college students. Finally, I'll assign you an assignment. Shahong sets up a stall at the school gate to sell breakfast. She recorded the number of buns sold. The number of buns sold every day. For example, 80 buns were sold on Monday, 100 on Tuesday, 60 on Wednesday. The price of each bun is the same, but due to different weather and the number of students, Shahong wants to know how many buns she sells on average per day. Please use the method of calculating the weighted average to calculate the average daily sales volume. I hope you can complete this problem after class. So that's all for this class. Thank you all. See you next class.